Yamato, is the new green-yellow leader from OPO6 Wings of the Captain, and if you're looking to play them, here's everything you need to know.
In set 6, we're receiving our 4th Wano leader. This one bridging the original green land of Wano cards with the yellow Wano cards introduced in Starter Deck 9. However, I wouldn't call this a Wano deck in the traditional sense. More times than not, you'll be looking to build around the power of your new Yamato rather than leverage other cards like Kinemon or set 1's Kozuki Oden.
This new Yamato leader is a 4-life leader with the ability to double attack, designed to be swinging fast and swinging strong from the start of the game. Then, with their secondary effect, you're able to throw around 2 Rested Dawn each turn, as long as you've gotten your opponent's life down to 3 or less.
Because of how impactful on board this leader is, similar to Starter Deck 2's Useless Captain Kidd or OPO2's Edward Newgate, the deck typically takes on one of 2 identities that we'll go over today: Trigger Rush and Fortress Kid.
Trigger Rush takes advantage of the many new Wano cards from OPO6, such as Inuarashi, Kikunojo, Nekamanushi, who are all able to be played off trigger based solely on your opponent being at 3 life. Pretty easy with a double attack leader. Meanwhile, you get to slide in plenty of other aggressive triggers, like Charlotte Cracker, Blocker Sanji, or Satori, with your main goal of being able to dump resources into your leader Yamato, forcing your opponent to go down to 3 or less life immediately, or dump a lot of card advantage from their hand. Kind of a win-win, you know? Then freely taking damage to build up your board, in spite of having already used all your Dawn. After which, turn them all sideways and end the game as quickly as possible. Some great options here are the new Hody Jones, who is an 8k for 7 with Rush and will rest any 2 of your opponent's characters on play at the cost of 1 life. Great to remove stubborn blockers.
Or, check out this new event, a 4 cost that lets you KO a 5 or less character, or hit your opponent for their last life at the cost of 1 of yours. Plus, old reliables like 200 million Volt Amaru, Rester Izo, and 9 cost Yamato are all still doing work in this deck.
And even though it's an aggro deck, it has a lot of unique value tools as well. Of course, it goes without saying our Kozuki Momonosuke searcher from set 1 will let us dig for our Wano tools. But more than that, we have a new Onami in yellow, which on play will give a leader or character Banish, or for trigger will KO a 5 cost or less character. That Banish on Yamato's double attack is not only super impactful, but Yamato can easily make Onami a lethal attacker thanks to her ability giving the rested 2 Dawn to the character.
And remember all of those aggressive new triggers we mentioned earlier? Well, if Kikunojo is KO'd, she'll simply heal you a life, meaning the opportunity for another trigger while insulating yourself from being rushed down as a 4-life leader. Inuarashi has an on-attack ability with 2 Dawn attached. Trash a card from your hand and KO an opponent's character with a cost of equal or less than your opponent's life. Literally Gadatsu on a stick.
Plus, Nekamamushi has an on-attack ability with 2 Dawn attached that lets him attack an active character. So, you can focus on the most important piece on the board at any time, or swat away some pesky blockers for your leader to get through with double attack.
Other tools you could reach for are the new Kozuki Momonosuke, a 6k for 5 with blocker that lets you put a Land of Wano character other than himself back into your life on top or bottom.
Or Kozuki Hiyori, a 2-cost 2k counter with on-play ability to add 1 card from the top or bottom of your life to your hand, and then replace it with a card in hand on top of your life. Plus, the Dracula Mihawk for the new Starter Deck 12 can function as a 2k counter defensively, while also helping you go wide with his on-play ability, putting a slash character cost 4 or less into play for only 3 Dawn.
Here's an example of what Trigger Rush Yamato typically looks like. But you can also venture out of Wano for new options for your aggro plan. For example, Hody Jones isn't the only good Fishman pirate with Yamato. Many of the new and old ones are playable around her and won a 500-person championship prelim. Or, Enel and his Sky Island friends can bring the pressure as always.
Now this second build is for all you Set 1 Useless Captain Kidd enthusiasts out there. Fortress Kid, complete opposite of what we just described. You're not trying to get aggressive with a big board, you're trying to lean into your leader as your main combat target while playing cheap blockers and cheap ways of accruing value as you build up to a late game copy of 8-drop Useless Captain Kidd. To lock down the game state with this leader, it lets you rest itself to play a 3 or less. Then with a Dawn on it, your opponent is forced to attack him and only him as long as he's rested with that Dawn attached.
Starting with your packages, we're running mainly Supernova and Don Quixote pirate cards. Supernovas lend counter and blocker support while being searchable when digging for your 8-drop Kid. Meanwhile, Don Quixote pirates bring a whole lot of defensive options on the board, while fishing for your other lock card in 10-drop Doflamingo, whose on-play makes it so that up to 3 of your opponent's characters and or leader remain rested at the start of their next turn. So for this we're running 8 searchers between Jewelry Bonnie and Baby 5, generating card advantage continuously unless your opponent diverts attacks from your leader.
Next is a series of blockers to pay off your 8-drop kid. Monet, who can be worth over 2 blocks with her resting ability. Blocker Rosinante, who helps insulate the kid from KO effects. And Blocker Killer, who replaces himself by drawing a card. Killer really shines here since attaching the Dawn for his block effect is essentially free thanks to your leader. This is also why 8-drop kid is super effective here. In the past, you had to play him on 9 so you could play him, rest him, lock down that turn. In Yamato, you could play him on 8, just going second, smooth curve, and because of Yamato's ability, you'll have the lockdown Dawn attached with your rested Dawn.
Then, it's just about maximizing searchers to find 2Ks, events, and blockers while you force your opponent to fight into an 8K body that cracks back turn after turn and a double attack leader.
And if your opponent tries throwing their luck and everything to kill Kid, you can punish them with the Doflamingo 10-drop. It's a really good way to lock down the game on top of your Kid. An 8K attacker, a double attacker, a 10K attacker, and all rested units is not a good place for your opponent to be.
Here's a good starting point for building the Fortress Kid version of Yamato. But there's tons of room to innovate and to change cards with your own tech and personal preferences.
If you're looking to learn more about OPO6's leaders and how to play them, or just some more fun One Piece content, make sure to subscribe to the channel and check out our other videos.
And let us know in the comments below which version of Yamato you're most excited to play.